Aloha, and how's it? Today we're talking all about how you can increase your brand awareness on LinkedIn. So, more on that in a moment. How was your weekend? My husband actually had knee surgery late last week, so we did not get in as much surfing time as normal. He is recovering well, though. So, if you asked, he's headed for his ortho checkup shortly. So, all is well on that front, and hopefully, he'll be back to surfing soon. My 8-year-old actually had a Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, if I can ever say it, BJJ competition, and she won second place, and she's still wearing her medal everywhere. So we had an eventful weekend with lots of activity and stuff outside the norm. If you haven't checked out my podcast, the Mango Effect podcast, you'll get to hear me this week talk about how to deal with your outer critics, especially when you're navigating a transition in your business or you're becoming your own boss. Lots of juicy stuff in this week's episode. Plus, there are now 20 episodes up there for you to listen to if you want to hear about all things related to doing life your way. We talk about lifestyle design, entrepreneurship, living in Hawaii, building a business, and more. And my husband is actually joining us on the next episode. So go ahead and subscribe if you want to tune in. Now it is time for Mondays with Mindy. This is a weekly show on Monday afternoons, if you're based in the US, where I talk about all things LinkedIn profile, promo, and profiles, what I like to call the 3 Ps of LinkedIn. So if you have questions about LinkedIn that you want me to answer, be sure to like this post, whether you're watching live or you're watching from the replay. Leave your questions below, and I will answer them either after the show or on a future episode of Mondays with Mindy. As many of you know, I love answering questions. And so if you have something that is pressing or top of mind, I will probably do a follow up Mondays with Mindy live show on it. I'm planning my next batch of topics, so send me what you want to know. Now let's get to today's topic. How do you actually go about increasing brand awareness for your organization or for yourself on LinkedIn? It's really not as hard as most people think it is. It's not about how much marketing or networking you do, but it's really more about showing up as consistently as you can every single week. So, today I'm going to share 3 of my favorite ways to do this that don't require spending hours a day hustling to get sales calls, or commenting on bazillions of LinkedIn posts. So, are you top of mind in your niche or your industry? Whether you have a full roster of clients or you need to book your first discovery call, increasing your brand awareness on LinkedIn ensures that you always have just the right amount of new business. I want to emphasize just the right amount because sometimes there is this thing called feast or famine where we feel like we have a lot of new business and we don't have enough time to take it all on without scaling. Or there are times when we feel like I should have more business and it's really quiet. And so we're hustling. So, what can happen is we want to avoid that. We want it to be a smooth transition. We want always the right amounts of new business, and we want it at a cadence that feels right for us in our business or organization right now. So many of the in demand experts I work with are booked solid with client projects slotted for months at a time when things are good. So they make the mistake of thinking that they don't need to do marketing. They're like, Mindy, I've got so many calls on my calendar, I don't need to do marketing. But when you finish your projects and you emerge back onto the LinkedIn scene, you're expecting those hot prospects to remember you, and it's like, where did they go? Like, I had all of these people who wanted to work with me, but where are they now? So the smart experts learn how to make brand awareness more of a habit on LinkedIn. So they always have just the right amount of perfect fit opportunities coming their way at a cadence that they can profitably manage. And I think that's key. Sometimes we think more business is good, but what can you actually manage and still have good profit margins? That is a lot. I would say a lot of people, especially in the early stages, struggle to find that balance. Now, if you're a more seasoned organization, this is going to be relevant because we're going to talk about what larger organizations can also do to stay top of mind in today's episode. All right, so brand awareness is really just what is it? It is really being top of mind in your industry or your niche when it comes to your organization Or you yourself as an entrepreneur or expert. You're there to solve a specific problem or provide a service. So when people think of, okay, I need to solve this problem, I go to this expert or I look at this organization. It's really just having that top of mind awareness. So there are a lot of what I call fluffy metrics out there that claim to measure brand awareness on LinkedIn. You'll hear a lot of people talk about engagement. You'll hear about views, which are now impressions. All of these things are like brand awareness metrics. Yes, they matter. Yes, I measure them. But what brand awareness really is how many people are in your sales pipeline or your marketing funnel? And are you happy with that rate, with that flow rate? I call it, because there's people always flowing through your funnel. So if you have a steady stream of clients or customers, then your brand awareness is likely on point. And so today will be more of a refresher for you. Like, okay, tell me why I need to stay top of mind. But when you notice like an unpredictable flow to your funnel, brand awareness may be one of the components that you want to review just to be sure it's in alignment with your business goals, your KPIs, your objectives, your sales process, and what you're expecting. Brand awareness is not always the culprit when it comes to getting the right amount of new business, but it can be a contributing factor for a lot of us. So many of the experts I know have this unpredictable flow of business. We talked about it, this feast or famine. They have more clients or customers than they can handle, or they are on the other side of the spectrum, hustling for hours a day, trying to get sales consults or demos booked on their calendars. So the goal with brand awareness is to stay top of mind enough that you never run out of new business opportunities. Simple enough, right? While also not overwhelming yourself or needing to scale too quickly and destroy your profit margins to handle new business and projects. So you're looking for that sweet spot. And I think brand awareness is often overlooked. It is that sweet spot. When brand awareness is there, when it is working, you always have just the right amount of projects, just the right amount of clients, just the right amount of customers. And you can be selective. You don't have to take whatever comes your way. You can actually choose who you want to work with. And there's a bit more choice involved in the matter versus feeling desperate that you have to take on that project or that client. So, brand awareness may not be sexy, but it's an essential component for new business owners to work towards and for seasoned experts or organizations to manage ongoing. It is critical that you pay attention to brand awareness. So, how do we create the right amount of brand awareness on LinkedIn? We'll talk about more on that in a moment. So, aloha, for those who don't know me, my name is Mindy Rosser. I'm the founder of Mindy Rosser Marketing, and I have a group program called the LinkedIn Accelerator for those who want to go from 0 to 60 on LinkedIn with their profile and their network. So, we are already filling spots for the July cohort. If you want to get on the wait list, I will share that link at the end of the episode. So, make sure to get on the wait list if you want to save your spot. I help superstars who feel they are the best kept secret in their industry to become that go to visible expert in their niche so they can get that next opportunity, grow their business, and scale their impact on LinkedIn. In this live, we are going to talk about why not paying attention to your brand awareness on LinkedIn is causing you to experience the feast or famine flow to new business opportunities and how you can increase your brand awareness in the right ways so that you can get the perfect amount of new clients, customers, and business opportunities. So, are you ready? Let's jump right into today's presentation. So, go ahead and like this post, whether you're live or watching from the replay, to give it some social love. So, a lot of subject matter experts, business leaders, and specialists in their field believe that to create brand awareness, they need to figure out their entire social media marketing strategy before they take any action online. I see a lot of people in this deliberation phase. They feel like the sense of perfectionism that they have to get it just right or just not do anything at all. So, if you have a team, you may deliberate with your team for months, working on your messaging, your brand colors, your social media guidelines, your company LinkedIn page, still not really seeing any progress or changes. Now, if you are more of a bootstrapped solopreneur or freelancer, this could look like trying to single-handedly manage all of your client projects, plus your email list, plus your social media posts, plus the backlog of calls on your calendar. So now you're telling me to add LinkedIn to my to-do list, Mindy. Like I am struggling just to keep up here. So how many people do you know who say they'll launch, write that book, start that business, or grow their social media following as soon as they have a marketing plan or a podcast or a YouTube channel? They feel that it's too complicated to get started now, so they just avoid doing it altogether. So the thing is, there is one overlooked place that is absolutely free for you to start increasing your brand awareness. And it walks you step by step through all of the nitty gritty details that should be included in your personal brand or on your company page. That place, of course, is LinkedIn. That channel that is staring you right in the face. Everyone's using it these days. It may not be where the cool kids are, but it's where everybody else who has a job, who has a business, who is a professional is. So when you think of LinkedIn, it's really important that you don't discount it as one of the many social channels you need to get into your social media constellation for your big strategy after you dial in your branding and your marketing. At this point, you really need to focus on a few things. It's really only a few things on LinkedIn that you need to do to start increasing brand awareness. Sometimes I feel like shouting from the rooftops, you don't need a fancy strategy. You just need a LinkedIn profile. Because really, that's what it comes down to is your profile. So I have worked personally with hundreds of clients, business leaders, executives who didn't have a website or an online portfolio, but they did not let that stop them from starting their businesses, landing their next opportunity, or getting their dream job. I've also worked with a lot of organizations who are just trying to figure out this LinkedIn thing. They realize their employees are using LinkedIn and they said, we better start giving them some guidance because they're just going off and doing what they want to do. So there's a very good blend of activities and very strategic objectives when you are looking at increasing brand awareness that you want to pay attention to, whether you are a solopreneur on your own or you have a team and you're trying to figure out how should I approach LinkedIn, how can we best leverage this channel. So when you know how to work your LinkedIn profile, your brand awareness can start on LinkedIn. And for many professionals and B2B organizations, LinkedIn is the only channel they really need. They may cross post to other channels, but LinkedIn is kind of the home base. So, what if instead of looking at LinkedIn as one of the socials, you decided to value your LinkedIn profile and those profiles of your team as the home base for your brand? What if you decided to invest in a little bit of training for some external facing members at your organization to help them learn the ropes of LinkedIn, dial in their profiles, and become your company's best advocates? LinkedIn has all of the sections you need to increase brand awareness for yourself and your organization. So it's really up to you. And if you have a team, your team, to get clear on your experience, your story, showcasing your work, linking people to places they need to go to learn more about you, sharing content that engages, attracting the right people when they are in the mindset to do business with you or your organization. So it's totally counterintuitive to what we think. When we approach LinkedIn from that social media mindset, it's like, okay, how many posts do I need to do? How much should my engagement rate be? How many of my employees are engaging? Yes, that's important, but what's more important is how people perceive you. And if you are using your LinkedIn profiles, your profile and those of your team effectively. So we like to make things more complicated. And we think that an expensive social media consultant, a website designer, a branding firm who has the most gorgeous website and logo are the answers. I'm not saying those things are meaningless, but I am saying that you can make a lot of progress with your organization, with your brand awareness, with your presence online if you get laser focused on your LinkedIn profile and those of your team members first before you worry about any other channels. So if you've been looking for a way to simplify your efforts and maximize your return on investment, let's talk about why your LinkedIn profile can kickstart your brand awareness on multiple levels. You don't have to wait. You can start right now. And if you decide not to prioritize you and your team's LinkedIn profiles, guess what? You're going to waste weeks, months, or years trying to hack the algorithm, pay for LinkedIn ads, and try a bunch of complex strategies that just don't work. So go ahead and waste your time on a pretty brand, but watch how the people in organizations who are at the same level as you skyrocket ahead with their business, or they seem to have an army of employees resharing their LinkedIn page content and raving about how much they love working at the company and serving customers. So, how are they doing it? They don't even post every single day. Well, I'm going to tell you a few secrets today. They know the power of their individual LinkedIn profiles and they're getting results. So, most of those people that you see that are getting a lot of results on LinkedIn, sometimes you can't even see the results. But what's going on behind the scenes is that they're very busy in their direct messages, but their external presence, so their LinkedIn profile and that of their LinkedIn page is in alignment and it resonates with their audience. So, we're going to talk about 3 ways you can increase your brand awareness today. How do you actually increase your personal brand awareness and your company's brand awareness on LinkedIn? It's not about spending hours a day on LinkedIn, but it's really focusing on the right activities that lead to that long term sustainable success. So, we are going to talk through 3 of my favorite ways to improve your brand awareness on LinkedIn and how you can get started now. We're going to keep it super simple today. All right. So, number one, you're going to update your LinkedIn profile. Now, for those of you who followed me for a long time, you may not be surprised by this. I believe that all of the wonderful things that happen on LinkedIn start with your LinkedIn profile. This is your LinkedIn personal profile. This is not your LinkedIn page. We will talk about that shortly. When is the last time you looked at your LinkedIn profile? When I asked this question, most people tell me it was, oh, yeah, Mindy, it was when I was job hunting. Or, Mindy, it's been a few years. This is not 2010. So we do not just update our LinkedIn profiles when we're looking for a job or when we're thinking about getting a job. LinkedIn is now the number one place for people to network professionally and also to put their best professional foot forward. So if your profile is out of date or it feels like a resume, you are missing a huge opportunity to get the attention of the right people who matter most to your business, your industry, or your niche. And I recently updated my profile on LinkedIn over the weekend because it had this feeling, it was feeling a bit too skewed towards an area of my business that I am not prioritizing much these days. So I actually made a number of changes to my profile. I'm going to show you because I feel like that will be helpful in our discussion today and what you should look for when you are updating your profile. So I am going to put my profile up here briefly. You can see that I'm live right now. All right, so kind of scrolling down here, these are the areas that I would pay attention to if you're looking to update your profile. So, first, look at your headline. Your headline is critical. This is what people see. So, I actually made some changes here because I am focused much more on profiles these days and I'm coaching a lot of people. So, I actually put LinkedIn profile coach and I'm working with a number of experts and I'm helping them to grow their networks. I also am doing a lot of training on the corporate side where I do training programs. So I am helping organizations with their teams, trying to get their teams aligned and excited about using LinkedIn. So I made sure to add this and kind of tweak this from what was there before. So then you will kind of scroll down a little bit. Always give your featured section a look. If you haven't looked at your featured section lately, give that a look and see what you can update here. Then you'll want to look at the about section. This is where I did an overhaul. So the about section can feel very overwhelming, but once you've done it once, it's not that hard to update from time to time. So if you are in a pivot, if you are thinking about changing jobs, if you just want to make this look good and you want to talk about your expertise and you're doing this for the first time, the about section does take a little bit of time, but I teach exactly how to do this inside of the LinkedIn Accelerator program. So if you want some help on this, I'll throw the link at the end of this profile, at the end of this profile, at the end of this live, so you can get on that list. But for now, just keep in mind this should be a narrative. This should start very strong. It should address your target audiences. I have 2 target audiences, and I wanted to make sure that both of them were addressed. I wasn't addressing my corporate audience in here, and I've been doing a lot of work on that front. So I made sure to weave that into my profile this time around. And then one other thing you're going to want to definitely look at, I'm not going to go into all of my profile here, is your experience section. So your experience section should feel current. Think about the keywords that people would be searching for to find you. And you see how I kind of separated them. So you can see that you can use a number of keywords here. I have a couple different roles in my business. So I broke them out into 2 separate areas. on my profile. You can kind of group it all together under one if you're an entrepreneur. If you are working inside an organization, then you would definitely want to break out all of the different experiences here and how you have moved up through the ranks. That is really important. And a lot of people try to group it all together. Make sure to list all of your job titles separately. People want to see that progression and they want to see how you moved through. So make sure that you actually write little high level overviews. You can see like it's very short, but high level overviews of what you do in each of those roles and each of those positions. Okay. So those are the main areas I tweaked. I also like went back and checked for broken links. I added some stuff to my publication section just to bring it up to date. But basically, it takes a little bit of time to do this, but it is so worthwhile. So if it's been a little while since you've done it, I challenge you to just update one thing on your LinkedIn profile that you feel could be tweaked, could be honed. You don't have to give it a complete overhaul, but sometimes it is necessary. All right, so number two, optimize your LinkedIn page. So let me make this clear. A LinkedIn page is for the organization. So this is for your company. If you have a company, maybe you manage a page for your organization as part of the marketing team or social team. So it just depends on what your role is. But if you're a freelancer or solopreneur, you should have a LinkedIn page for your company. So make sure to create one. Then after you create it, you want to make sure it's optimized. So, for those of you who are a business owner or manager of your organization's LinkedIn page, it is vitally important that your LinkedIn page is updated. One of the big mistakes I see people make is that they create the page and they forget about it. And there have been some changes to the organization or the structure, or there's been a merger and acquisition. There are a lot of things that can happen. And sometimes what is forgotten is the LinkedIn page. So make sure to update your LinkedIn page, especially if there has been some transition within the company. So just review all of those sections. So I work with a number of organizations who want to rework their LinkedIn strategy. And we always start with fixing a number of elements on the page that a lot of times they didn't even know existed. So getting your page right sets the stage for getting more people to follow your company on LinkedIn, learn more about your employees, and activate your team members on LinkedIn. So if you're looking at an employee advocacy program, social media advocacy, you really want to make sure your page is dialed in because you want your employees excited and you want them to share content. All right. So stop trying to get more engagement on your LinkedIn page post and start with optimizing each of the elements of your page first, like your tagline, your calls to action, keywords, about summary, your header image. So look at your LinkedIn page and make sure it's dialed in. There are a lot of other fun elements that you can explore once you get the basics, but just give it a look. Just make sure everything is up to date. All right. And finally, number three, review your LinkedIn posts. So, how often are you currently posting on LinkedIn? Are you posting from your page or your profile or both? Which types of posts are getting the most engagement? So, understanding what's actually resonating with your audience and why is critical to being able to increase your brand awareness over time. The numbers always tell a story, especially once you learn how to interpret them. So, if you don't yet have a benchmark, or you have not started posting yet, you'll need at least 30 days worth of data with about one post per week, thereabouts. For those who post less frequently, you'll want to review probably the last 90 days of data. So look at your numbers for either 30 days if you post enough or 90 days. So one of the easiest ways to look at your numbers from your personal profile is just literally going through your activity feed, seeing how many impressions you got, how many engagements you had. But if you want to take it to the next level, there's actually a tool. It's called Shield, like a shield, shieldapp.ai. I'll put the link in the comments as well for in-depth analytics on how your personal profile's content is performing. So this is not for your LinkedIn page. This is not for your company page. This is for your personal profile. But this has been incredibly helpful for those clients of mine who really like to get into the numbers and kind of see their trajectory over time, what their engagement looks like, who's engaging with their profile, and they like to see numbers in an easier to digest format. So shieldapp.ai is a great tool for that. It is a little bit of a charge, but it is not too expensive or cost prohibitive. So if you are analyzing your page, so your company page performance, you'll want to dive into the analytics in your admin dashboard. as you can actually see what's really neat in there. You can actually see who's engaging with your content, what industries they're in, and even what their job titles are. So I have worked with a number of organizations who are like, oh, okay, I actually have the right people engaging. I may not have high numbers, but I have the right titles, I have the right industries. I think we're on the right track here. So, actually diving into those analytics can help you figure out what you should be posting and if you are attracting the right people, or you need to shift your content a little to get the right eyeballs on your content. So, tying all of this together, your goal is to set the stage for increasing your brand awareness on LinkedIn in a way that is sustainable. So it's based on the data, it takes into account your personal LinkedIn profile, those of your team members, and also your LinkedIn page for your organization. So that works very well together, especially when they are aligned. So, my challenge for you this week, take a look at your LinkedIn profile and update one thing, just one, that feels out of date or needs a refresh. That's it. So make one change on your LinkedIn profile. All right. And I would love to hear about it. So if you actually take me up on this challenge, shoot me a DM and say, Mindy, I did it. Here's what I changed. So let's recap the process. So first, we want to focus on our LinkedIn profile and train our teams how to do this. So if you have a good formula and you figured out a good way to optimize your LinkedIn profile, also train your team members. Even if you just have a small team, it really makes a big difference in helping everyone feel aligned. If somebody is saying that they're an employee of your organization and their name is attached to your page, it helps to have a decent profile or train them how to do it. Number two is you want to optimize your LinkedIn page. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure if there's any changes that those are accounted for and that you're linking them to the right places. All right. And then number three, review your LinkedIn posts. So the posting from the last 30 days, if you haven't posted yet, start posting and pay attention for 30 days and then look at your data. All right, so what additional questions do you have about increasing brand awareness on LinkedIn? Leave them below in the comments or shoot me a private message. I am happy to answer them. And if you are looking for that extra edge to get you started on the right path with LinkedIn, you want to book your perfect clients, you want to get on the wait list for the next cohort of the LinkedIn Accelerator. It is kicking off in July 2022. This program takes you through all of the sections of your LinkedIn profile in just 5 days. So it's a very short program. It's 1 week, and we work on all the sections of your LinkedIn profile, and then we have plenty of Q&A in there for you if you have questions that are not profile related. So pay attention, get on the list because spots are filling up pretty quickly. And if you have questions about it, just message me and I'm happy to answer them. I will see you all next week on Mondays with Mindy. Feel free to leave questions or comments below. And my inbox is open if you want to message me directly. Bye for now. Have a great rest of your week.